there will be a presentation of Team SeaGirls with the title Proposal of a New Guideline to Integrate Blockchain Development. Let's give Team a big hands.
Thank you, and good afternoon to all. The World Maritime Day theme for this year is Our Heritage, Better Shipping for a Better Future. Following the theme, we SeaGirls are here to present that IMO should discuss a new agenda of imposing new guidelines to integrate blockchain developments in order to enhance global infrastructure facilities. We will go through our presentation in the following order. Part 1 is about the general background of our agenda. Part 2 is about what and why the proposal should be discussed. And Part 3 is about how IMO should deal with the agenda and take actions. The Harvard Business Review wrote that the technology most likely to change the next decades of business is not the social web, big data, the clouds, robotics, or even artificial intelligence. It's the blockchain. Then, what is this blockchain, and to what extent has the technology been adopted by the maritime industry? The blockchain is an electronic distributed ledger that can record all the transactions through a supply chain in a transparent, secure, and unauditable way. Because of these merits, several stakeholders in the maritime industry are applying this technology. In the shipping industry, Maersk is currently focusing on changing paper-based bills into digitized bills through blockchain to deal with container information accurately. Looking at the port industry, Rotterdam Port in the Netherlands has developed a blockchain-based tracking system teaming up with Dutch company Cargo Ledger. Similar developments are also practiced in other smart ports such as Antwerp, Hamburg, and Singapore to share data across blockchain network and to reduce processing time. However, despite its developments, the real world has been slow in adopting the technology due to the following three main concerns. The first concern is difficulty of adoption. Currently, companies are willing to invest in blockchain to go along with the current trends, but only several large companies have started experimenting with the technology due to capital and technical gaps. Moreover, since the databases of these different companies may use different standards or languages to store data, the world might require resources and time to align databases, to invest in a shared language, and to present integrating layers of the system when the technology reaches the global interaction stage. The second concern is lack of trust. The blockchain technology is known to be trustworthy, but can people shift trust from a centralized authority to a technology? They might raise doubts about it in the role of intermediary and organizer in the blockchain data system. Also, despite the importance of data collection in building blockchain platform, firms are not likely to share critical information with others that could potentially make them vulnerable. The third concern is legal issues. Since the blockchain is the technology that emerges nowadays, there are no clear regulations enforced in this area yet. Thus, the questions arise like, what kind of regulation is needed to implement the blockchain solution? Dealing with these concerns in deciding who will be in charge, granting access permission, and integrating technology developments and mediating agreements, the marine environment is in need of overarching standards and mutually governed system to lead the integrated developments and to implement the solution effectively. Therefore, in order to standardize the blockchain solution, before the technology develops too independently in the future, IMO must construct guidelines on blockchain to promote, guide, and integrate multiple blockchain developments into a common platform. The next presenter, Junyoung, will explain why IMO should reserve this suggestion. Junyoung?
Thank you, Eun-jung. The mission of IMO is to promote safe, secure, environmentally sound, efficient, and sustainable shipping through cooperation. And this will be accomplished by adopting the highest practicable standards. Shipping can operate effectively only if the regulations and standards are agreed, adopted, and implemented on an international basis. According to the Convention on IMO, Article 1 states the purposes of the organization. Relating to technical matters affecting shipping engaged in international trade, the aims are to provide a system for cooperation among governments, to remove discriminatory action and unnecessary restrictions, and to provide for the consideration and the exchange of information. Blockchain is the technology that suits these objectives. Establishing new guidelines on blockchain in the maritime industry corresponds to IMO's Strategic Direction 5. SD5 is related to the matters of enhancing global facilitation and security of international trade. In our view, FAR should consider this agenda as a committee dealing with the international trade and global electronic business. World Economic Forum mentions that the standardization is crucial for joint development. Then, are there any standards relating to our issues in the maritime industry? According to Deloitte's report, although there are some technical and business standards for blockchain, such as cross-border transactions and smart contracts, overall standards do not exist. We found that though blockchain technology is rapidly growing in broad fields and the adoption of that technology is already in progress independently by some maritime stakeholders, there are no overarching technical standards for blockchain yet. The major advantages of setting new guidelines will be in three aspects: environment, security, and efficiency. Beginning with the environment, blockchain technology generally requires a large amount of computing power consumption. When IMO constructs guidelines and sets concrete limits on power consumption that meets the condition of each country, the use of power will be regulated and the environment will be considered. Another aspect is security, especially cybersecurity. The following factors commonly cause cyber attacks. First, many ships run outdated and unsupported operating systems. Second, because of the influx of users in maritime computer systems, the maintenance of onboard systems is often contracted to a variety of third parties. Third, the linkage between onboard and terrestrial systems is quite vulnerable. IMO has recognized these issues and published guidelines for cybersecurity, which have proved effective. Like this, the adoption of guidelines for blockchain method has the ability to encourage safe blockchain application and resolve all previous cybersecurity issues. The last aspect is efficiency. It will facilitate efficient supervision of ships and regulations on environment pollutant emission. If IMO constructs a guideline, an integrated blockchain-based maritime platform could be formed. In this way, The system can reduce processing time and eliminate errors in paperwork. Moreover, using blockchain technologies, the maritime stakeholders can trace the details of bunker fuels on its environmental impacts. The next presenter, Ju Young, will explain why this policy should be started immediately. Ju Young.
Thank you, Junyoung. Since about 90% of international trade is carried by sea, to prevent a collapse of global shipping industry is a matter for all related stakeholders. According to IMO's SD5 in strategic plan for 2018 to 23, the electronic transmission of relevant information is important. However, there is a challenge to ensure the universal security and verification of exchanged information. Blockchain is an innovative approach for this. Unfortunately, each enterprise has been developing their own system, and those different protocols such as Hyperledger Fabric and Ethereum cannot be integrated easily. Without using the same protocol, sharing information is impossible. Without using the same protocol, to facilitate the exchange of information, there are two solutions to facilitate exchange of information between various fields. The first one is standardization of a new single protocol, and the second one is creation of integrating layers. However, the second solution is more laborious and painful to put into practice. Therefore, to follow the first solution, IMO should construct new guidelines on integrated blockchain development as soon as possible. To do this, we require three actions to IMO. First, further data collection should be done in GCs to facilitate vigorous interchange between stakeholders. Along with the port facilities, emission tracking and ballast water management can be easily checked in real time. And the only administrator who has the required authority can access the information. Third, no tampering is possible. Second, a common maritime cryptocurrency payment platform should be established. Once blockchain technology is developed, each enterprise will create their own cryptocurrencies. However, because of the technical gap between countries, in the end, the more powerful stakeholders' cryptocurrency and its blockchain platform will be accepted widely. If the gap becomes bigger, the maritime industry cannot operate the blockchain platform efficiently. By using a unified cryptocurrency, transactions such as penalties and contributions are successfully collected. Third, technical experts on blockchain and its overall system should be trained. To remove hesitation in adopting new technology platform, its technician and administrator has to learn how to use the system. This education can be achieved with the support of IMO, Training and Development Fund, and Technical Cooperation Fund. With this IMO's training, both developed and developing countries will move forward and accept the blockchain platform efficiently. With IMO's considerable care, the maritime industry will move forward smoothly and confidently with the potential interest of all participants. At the moment, the world is considering blockchain technology as a strategy for the future and formulating legal policies. Even if there is much controversy surrounding blockchain usages, such as cryptocurrency, in the end, it will be applied inevitably in all industries in the end.
However, development of industry without preparing for the future costs extra time, money, and labor. We believe that we have designed an innovative solution to combine maritime blockchain adoption. These new guidelines not only contains regulations and directions of blockchain technology, but also increase accessibility of technology by encouraging it to be applied in various industries. Consequently, it will give IMO a leading role in adopting blockchain platform and facilitate the maritime industry in moving forward in an efficient and sustainable way, making shipping safer, simpler, and more standardized. It was SeaGirls presenting, and thank you so much for your attention. Questions regarding our proposal are welcome.
Okay, thank you very much for your good presentation. Okay, Q&A session so will be done by the Mr. Park, please.
Okay, now we're going to start to the afternoon question and answer time. Could you raise up your card? Okay. Solitary chain, and then the Masi. Solitary chain first. You have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Styrian Chain supports your idea of implementing blockchain technologies in many other areas, but we are curious about how does the process time is reduced and able to transact in direct way.
Thank you for the question. And you wondered how the processing time will be reduced in the blockchain data system. Because there are lots of paperwork in handling containers and logistics, the blockchain technology had
Using blockchain technologies, maritime stakeholders do not need a third-party intermediary because the system is connected to all stakeholders. So the processing time caused by using paper-based works can be reduced.
to add like bills of lading, sanitary certificates, and custom release and invoices and other necessary documents might not be necessary in papers. So there was a report that these documents must be transferred by shuttle or by man to get the paper. So I think that's how the processing time will be reduced.
Thank you for the answers.
Okay, next the Masi, and next is CU. Masi first.
Thank you for your presentations. And we think if the blockchain is commercialized, we think there's a lot of people who are going to lose their jobs. For example, bankers. And do you have any alternative way to protect them?
Can you have some time for a discussion? We believe that the adoption of the technology won't be that influential in the bank industry. Like people, they were going to lose job. We don't think that's the case because other than banking work, there is also work produced by adopting the technology. To use the technology and to certify the technology, and yeah, the adoption of this technology needs lots of experts in this area. So I think they will also produce human resources in the maritime industry.
Thank you.
Thank you, SeaGirls. And next to question to see you, please.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you for your presentation. You were keep mentioning that blockchain's development has to be constructed for cybersecurity. But do you have any relevant examples to back up your opinions? Is there any basis?
Are you asking if there is a case that the cybersecurity issue was resolved, or can you rephrase the question again?
Yeah, I'm asking if you have any relevant real-life examples that to back up your opinions that the development has to be constructed for cybersecurity.
Smart contracts are using the blockchain-based platform, and using blockchain, the smart contracts are stored in a database, and the information is shared by many stakeholders. And the reason why the stakeholders adopt the technology is that when someone interrupts the one block of data, but it does not influence the other blocks because the blocks are all connected to the in the system.
Do you want like an example of the case that was is doing right now, or just in the cybersecurity?
Actually, we're stating that we're not sure that the resolutions we're coming up with are urgent enough.
We already talked about it, but thank you for asking. It's not very urgent, but if we don't have guidelines now, in the future, the more enterprise and industry will adopt the blockchain solution as their innovative way. So it's hard to combine all the things in the same industry. That's why we are thinking that it's lucky that not so much application is done yet.
To add more, I think this new technology is not that familiar with many people, but I think this technology can go along with mass, because most of the technology that mass needs can be used by blockchain and have a more efficient way to deal with the other issues. So I think because the mass is really a big issue now in the industry, I think blockchain is also the technology that can go along with this. And that's why we think it's urgent to adopt this technology, to set the guideline and give them a guide to how to how to use this technology.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Last one questions is I see the master first. Yeah, this is the last one.
Our delegates are really impressed with your detailed explanation of the topic. We wonder that if the role of intermediary is not clarified, it would be vulnerable to hackers, and we believe that it also harms the liability between the companies, even though the systems like cryptocurrency could more or less prevent from robbing or breaking the information. could you give us concrete, the detailed way of how to solve the doubt on role of the intermediary in charge of blockchain system?
Can you repeat that again in a louder voice?
Could you
Could you give
briefly
us
question?
volume up, please.
in brief, could you give us concrete, the detailed way of how to solve the doubt on law of the intermediary in charge of blockchain system?
How to?
I mean the way.
Do you mean how to change the trust from centralized
yeah.
to technology?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay, I would like to intervention to these questions. I think is the SeaGirl is not an expert for relevant to this issue, blockchain, and so maybe in general, maybe we are expected to general question and answer, and so as time is because of the limitation of the time. Thank you. Now we're gonna the closing to this question and answer times. Thank you for SeaGirls and thank you for the questioners. It's gonna be starts. It's gonna be closing to this question and answer time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
Thank you. Please return your seat.